Okay, it is 7:04. We have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and get started tonight because we have a very full agenda. So to start off, I just want to say we have a very busy agenda tonight, so I'm going to ask everyone to please be mindful of your time. 3 minutes for non-agenda comments, and please stick to your time frame. Okay, and the other thing I wanted to say is at last week's CPC meeting, I know Tom Silva mentioned that he was having trouble getting his agenda noticed on the city website, and the same thing happened to us. So that's why you see a notice out front on the door. There is some kind of issue going on with planning. I don't know what it is.
It's not new. It's old. It used to happen all the time.
Yeah, but
Years
up until about 3 months ago, I always got them. I could turn them in Wednesday. They'd be published on Thursday. Now I'm turning them in on Wednesday. Last month they published on Saturday, which still made the cut, and this time they published on Monday. So I'm going to pull back the deadline for when I submit the deadline to probably a full week before our date, just to make sure that we get it in on time. But I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, the issue is state law versus city code.
Mm-hmm.
The city's under the impression that their posting them is a courtesy,
Right.
and state law says that they need to be published online in advance.
Yep.
So they're getting clarification.
Perfect. Okay, so that's it on that. Any changes to the agenda or speak now, hold your peace. The agenda is adopted without objection. Next up, communication from the public on non-agenda items. If you have a non-agenda item that you want 3 minutes to speak on, please raise your hand. April Mahoney, good evening. You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Oh, she's muted.
You're muted.
Am I unmuted? Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a comment. As most of you probably have already received your official election ballot material for the upcoming special election. Let me just grab my notes here. I wanted to dish out some food for thought. This is primarily for the constituents of the 4th District. And as much as I can appreciate and the desire on the behalf to work for the 4th District as a county supervisor and expand a digital footprint, I do have some concerns, considering that our current council person's position will be terminated 2 years early. And there will be an upcoming election for mayor, as we know, next year, as well as District 9. We find ourselves as stakeholders and constituents in the 4th District of having to change horses once again in the middle of the stream, for the lack of a better metaphor, again and again. With the loss of Nathan Fletcher and possible vacancy of our current council seat, nearly 700,000 San Diego residents living in our district will be hanging in the balance. Bringing in new council people and some unresolved community concerns looming will come with pain points. I would like for all of us to closely and carefully consider our options and our choices and the trickle-down effect and the impact that these changes have on our community when selecting leadership that represent us. The follow-through, their closure before exiting the position and being attracted by the next new shiny object that appears, their commitment to excellence and demanding excellence of their staff that represent them in the community and speak to us on their behalf. Community equity and or inequity, their impact, their power, and their influence. I say this because I had a meeting with the councilwoman previously who told me that her predecessor left the office in disarray and in shambles, having to recreate everything. Now, let me be crystal clear and not be misquoted. I am not saying that this is the intention or the work ethic of the current administration, but you don't know what you don't know, and it is disruptive. We have to pour in a lot of sweat equity in these meetings to build a consensus moving forward for resolution and solutions, only to have to bring in new personnel, decision makers into the fold, bring them up to speed, possibly, and of course, a new entire staff, a different agenda and mindset. It is imperative that we expect somewhat of a seamless transition and closure on these pressing community projects that are being earmarked as priorities. The county supervisor and councilperson is only as effective as the personnel and the team that they build alongside of them. The effectiveness and the need to hold them responsible because they are our first line of communication and are hired for these positions to do the people's work. We need them to build a team of influencers, connectors, power players, and impactors. As we go to the ballot box,
Yeah,
consider
April, your time is up,
options.
please. Can you wind
Oh,
up?
okay.
Please? Thank you.
These elections cost us about $5 million each. Your vote is a stamp of approval, not a go along to get along. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, April. Any other non-agenda comments tonight? Okay. Moving on to reports from our community representatives. First up is Bruce Williams from Monica Montgomery Steps office. Hi, Bruce.
So, greetings, everyone. Bruce Williams, representing Council President Pro Tem Monica Montgomery Step. Good to be with you as always. I'll be very short this time. First of all, I just wanted to share that our very last dumpster day took place on last Saturday. And for those of you that were there and participated, thank you very much for coming out. We wanted to give a special shout out to the fellas at Teen Challenge who came out to help unload all of that stuff. We got quite a bit of trash hauled away. So thank you, Teen Challenge, for your help in making that happen. And that was our last one of the year. So hopefully we'll continue them after the new year. Also, just a couple more things. October 2023 is Employee Appreciation Day at the City of San Diego. So if you see a city worker, if they've earned it, let them know that you appreciate it. The Drug Enforcement Agency, the National Take Back Day for safely disposing of medications, is going to take place on October the 28th at the San Diego Police Department, the Southeastern Division, which is over at 7222 Skyline Drive. No appointment is needed. This will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So just bring up all of your drugs that you haven't been using and you can dump them, no questions asked. And that's what I have. If there are any questions, I'm happy to try to answer.
Any questions for Bruce? Online, in person? Nope. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Short and sweet. I like it. Thank you. And following Bruce is Roberto Marin, our District 9 community representative.
Good evening. Mine will not be short. I'm gonna try to keep it short.
I just set the timer, Roberto. So.
Okay, good. All right. I'll be quick. I'm gonna start off with a few announcements and then I'll get into the nitty-gritty about the budget priorities surveys, that budget priority memo that Council President Elo Rivera sent out. First is Saturday, October 21st, I Love a Clean San Diego, SDG&E, and Council District 9 will be partnering up for a community beautification event along Choice Creek. That event starts from 9 a.m. to 11. The council president will be there in attendance and also helping out pick up trash. So I highly encourage you to attend this event because this also will be going all the way up to Choice Parkway. We're going to be cleaning the Choice Creek. So I highly recommend folks, if they are interested, to contact me and I can provide more information. On October 28th, the council president will be attending the Rolando Park Xenia Canyon Community Cleanup from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. He's also going to be speaking with residents. As you know, this is fairly new for our district, so he wanted to engage folks and also hear the some concerns that they might have. That cleanup will be also spearheaded by Lynn, and we'll be providing a flyer within the next few days. A couple of highlights I want to share. First and foremost, I want to thank Bob from Rolando Village, Lynn, and also John for their efforts in terms of getting their tree canopy excuse me, the tree canopy, paperwork that they did for our office. I really appreciate that. They put in a lot of effort, and I went over it with the council president, and he was very impressed. And so he really appreciates all the work that you're doing. And we're really hoping that this can be a step in the right direction for all residents alike for the Easton area. So I want to give a quick kudos for all those 3 individuals. A couple of highlights also. This is going to be for Rolando Village, Bob. I'm sure you got an email today, but we have been pushing city staff and pressuring them to fix Bradford and Seminole, which has been an eyesore for so long.
Yes.
Have finally pushed the needle on that. Thanks to community advocacy, we're going to have that project start in mid-November. So they're going to fix that whole section of Bradford and Seminole. So I just want to give kudos to those folks in Rolando Village that
That's
advocated
great,
on the beat.
Roberto. That's good news.
Yeah.
So is it going to be a total repaving?
Yes, they're gonna dig the whole road out and they're gonna repave that intersection.
Yay.
So we're gonna keep tabs on that, and we'll definitely keep you in contact in the loop for that. Speaking
you.
of Bradford and Seminole, the reason why the lights aren't working there, because we've gotten a lot of inquiries, is because SDG&E has not powered and energized those lights. So city staff is working with SDG&E to make sure that that occurs. But the street lights are ready to go. We're just waiting on SDG&E to power those up. So I'll provide more updates as well. We're looking also for the budget priority memo. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend you looking that over. But wanted to share a few highlights from that. First and foremost being, as I mentioned, Seminole Drive from Solita and Estelle. That is still on our budget priorities as street resurfacing and reconstruction. We are also looking at Choice Triangle Park. We want to keep funding there, but we also want to request more money in the event that the money that city staff is hoping for doesn't come through. So we want to make sure that the project still moves along and there's no delays. And the last thing is making sure our public safety dispatchers are adequately staffed and that we can have proper staffing for folks there. And I think that's it for me. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Mario?
Yeah, regarding the repaving, are you just doing the intersection or are you gonna do all of Seminole?
We're just doing that intersection. We met with city staff and they told us that they are still working on undergrounding. And I know there's been conflicting reports with neighbors that it has finished, it hasn't finished. So I asked the tough question of, okay, so can you give me a timeline of when this is gonna happen? Because it's been kind of ridiculous and it's been going over for so long that we need to let people know when it's going to happen. So engineering and capital improvement projects let us know that paving of all of Seminole and the surrounding streets will start in April of 2024. That is the timetable that they've given us. We are going to stay on top of it and we're going to make sure that we hold them accountable. And just so you know, and for residents to know, that Council President Elo Rivera wants to ensure that he's going to keep advocating for safe streets, but also for resurfacing a lot of the streets because there's a lot of need in the community and we want to make sure we touch every community at least to get some street paving.
All of Seminole, good.
Okay. Thank you. Roberta, since you're online, I just want to also give a shout out to Bettina because I see Bettina's online. Bettina spearheads all of the community cleanups with Redwood Village and Rolando Park with me. The one in Xena Canyon will be our 7th cleanup this year.
Wow.
So thank you. Any more questions for Roberto? Comments? And then we're going to move on to information items. And first up, we have Rob Knudsen and Kevin O'Byrne from SDG&E. And this is an update on the Streamview Substation Rebuild and Expansion Project.
Oh, good evening. I know that Lynn is working on getting it. We have a small slide presentation for the folks online. I did hand out PowerPoint and some information, a fact sheet and a frequently asked questions. So my name is Rob Knudsen, and again, I'm with Kevin O'Byrne, my colleague. We're with SDG&E's major projects team. And so we're here to give an update on the Streamview substation, which is I thought it was down the street. It's across the street from this building, so don't have to walk too far. And just kind of give you guys an update on what's going on. So just given the load growth in the past decade in the mid-city area and really trying to prepare for the future load growth. The substation has ended its useful life. It was built back in the 1950s. And so in order to make it safe and reliable, as you can see, we're in the process of updating it and expanding its current footprint. So go ahead, next slide. I think we all know where it's at, but there you go. Go ahead, next slide. I'm just kind of talking about some of the things, again, you know, the substation was built in the 1950s. Its equipment infrastructure just is not enough to keep up with the current load growth that we have currently existing. We have a strain on our system. So much like a freeway system, we've got a lot of traffic. And so with this upgrade, it's going to help us enhance and meet the needs of our future load growth. Just to kind of recap a little bit, we started construction on this project in late last year. Around November, you started seeing some work being done in our in the public right of way, and that was really to upgrade our infrastructure distribution electric lines that are in the ground that feed into the communities. Again, I kind of refer to it as kind of the bridge between the neighborhood and the substation, so that we can connect it when the new infrastructure is put in place. So all that work has been completed. We're getting ready to move into phase one in November, and most of this work will include civil grading and installing new underground facilities on site. So you'll see a lot of work taking place on site at the substation. And then followed, we'll go ahead and energize a section of that substation with the new equipment. And again, this will take place on site. And that's phase one. Phase two will take place in approximately Q4 2025, and that will include the finalizing the expansion growth on the substation, and then the decommissioning of the infrastructure, the old infrastructure. Project completion, we estimate to be fully completed and operational in Q4 2026. The reason for the long period, why this construction is it takes longer than most, is because it's an active substation. We don't have the ability to take it offline for a couple years and ship that to another substation. So it's a little tricky, but we will certainly get through it. Included, I'll go ahead next, or nope, you don't need to switch. Over on the right side, we do have a dedicated link for this project. So for anyone in the community, neighbors, residents, anybody has any questions or concerns, they can go to our external website. There's the web page address, and you can find updates. A lot of the information that I handed out to the group today is on that website. Included too, we have a toll-free number. So any questions, concerns, feel free to give us a call. And then we've also provided both mine and Kevin's email address. So feel free to email us anytime regarding this project. With that, I would like to open it up for any questions group may have. Yes, ma'am.
Should we expect any service interruptions during this?
We are going to do our very best not to do that. However, if there are, we will certainly reach out and notify the community as best we can. Yes.
All right, thanks.
But in general, no. And that's why, going to what Rob discussed earlier, a lot of our new substations will go build a brand new substation in a community to continue to meet the load growth. In this case, we're expanding because we purchased a lot of the next property, but because we're keeping that existing old substation in service, that's what's powering all of the neighborhood during the construction.
So if we don't anticipate it, but again, if
It could
for any
happen.
rhyme or reason, we're going to do our best to reach out, but certainly no plans to do that.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Just a comment. It seems like it's been a very good substation and reliable and keeps us online. Even when I hear about outages in other areas, it seems like we're not affected and it's nice.
Good to hear.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Vicky?
Do you anticipate with the phase 1 or phase 2 doing more work in 54th Street?
So no, we're working with the city. We're finalizing. Our goal is to have the ingress and egress take place off of Choya's Parkway. That is our goal. Okay, so
That's a good one.
there's that strip. So we're working on it. We've done site walks. So that's our goal. We're trying not to use 54th Street. But as more information becomes available, happy to share with you. But right now, we're just still going through the traffic plan and the permitting through DSD and really trying to finalize all of those traffic mitigation.
I'm
pieces.
thinking more of like excavation work in 54th or other
No.
things, or do you think that?
Primarily, it's, the nice thing about this substation project is that almost all of the work is exclusively in the property itself. So there's not a lot of work out in the streets. There
There
was
was
some,
before.
there was before, and that is that distribution getaways that
Okay.
we were talking about. So we needed to get that done and installed. But a lot of it's, and there won't be a lot of truck traffic in and out, but there are going to be times when we're going to have to deliver things, and that's why we do need an access point. But otherwise, then the construction work of installing and replacing the old aging infrastructure will all be on the site itself.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, well, I had a couple ones, but you raised another little flag. Down the road a few years, maybe 5 years, maybe 30 years, I don't know, but that street is gonna disappear.
No,
Street.
Choice Park.
George Pike was gonna disappear, it won't be there. So is there any chance of getting access off Leah Street? That would be the practical place.
No, well,
They'll
okay,
be
for
done in
for
2 years.
construction.
No, for-
Yeah, yeah, no. I was just simply talking about construction activity for the project. As far as you're correct, the Leah Street, the access points and stuff, there will not be any permanent access points off a choice into the substation. Yep.
Okay, so following that, have you been in contact with the Parks and Rec Department to see how your project is gonna mesh into their project that's coming in 2 years? When Choice Parkway gets closed and the park goes in and all that stuff. So
Working side by side.
you are talking
Yes.
to those, not just DSD and the planning people, but
Nope.
also Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, what kind of landscaping are you planning to finish the project off with on your perimeter?
We were asked that question earlier before the meeting. So we do have some preliminary landscape plans. I don't have the specifics with me. And I'm gonna take a stab because I remember seeing them months back, but I want to say we are putting some vegetation and landscaping in. I want to say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 100 plants around. Don't quote me 100%, but I will share it with Miss Lynn
That will
and
be
she can
wonderful.
distribute it to
Thank
the group.
Thank
Yep.
you so much. I'm looking forward to the landscaping.
Yes,
Yes, we all are.
Yes, we all always want landscaping.
yes, ma'am.
And it's always a wrestling match. We were discussing with Vicky also the issues that we've got with some of the folks that are homeless and are using a lot of the trees right next to the substation and, you know, cooking and burning fires and things like that. It's an ongoing issue there. So there's certain landscaping that is good to sort of beautify it and not make it look like a substation. But on the other hand, the city's having its wrestling match with the folks that are using the trees as encampments.
Hopefully we'll get that under control too.
Lots of bougainvillea and natal plum.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have
Choya.
Yes, yes. sir.
Choya cactus.
Yeah, cactus.
Nasty plant.
No, it will, the infrastructure will be gone. The
Yeah.
site location will remain with the addition of that for
We're
those.
gonna hang on to that. Won't be anything there, but.
Well, there may be some equipment there, yeah, as we're gonna build over.
Anything with
Any problem buying those houses or that was it?
That was, no issues on the acquisition of those 3 homes. Many of the community was very happy to see that take place.
So your expansion's only going westward, it's not going
Those
south,
3, yeah, that's
Okay.
it, and
only westward.
yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Thank you very much. We
Thank you very much
appreciate
for your
it. It's
time.
good information to take back to our communities too. Thank you. All right. Our next information item is on 4845 68th Street. It's a one parcel being split into two parcels. We have David Klein from Fusion Engineering. It's an information item tonight. It will be an action item next month after a site visit. David, you're up.
Would I be able to draw from the computer, or do you want me to try to wing it standing up here?
Entirely up to you.
Would it be
You could,
easier for me
you
to-
could drive my computer.
Perfect.
If you're left-handed, that would help, but
I'm not, but
you can even move my mouse. So
it'll still, yeah, be better from the computer. Chair here.
I've already loaded it. All you need to do is go to the share.
Do you have it open?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And how do I get that share on the screen?
I have to hit. Here. You want the plans?
Yeah.
Okay.
So bad.
There you go.
I nudged the camera over my,
Okay.
my head. Share.
Dave, they'll get great.
There you go. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so my name is David Klein. I'm an engineer with Fusion Engineering and Technology. I'm here on behalf of our client, Mr. Stephen McKinley. So he owns the parcel or the property 4845 68th Street, City of San Diego. And he wants to split that lot into two legal lots. So I'm gonna in here get this to work. So here's the general lot. It's landlocked. So if you see here, here is 68th Street. Here is his neighbor to the west. I'm gonna try to figure this out. Okay. To the south and east is 4841 68th Street. He also owns that lot. He has future plans for that lot, but as I was told, we'll discuss that at a future meeting. So here you can see the boundary for the existing 4845 68th Street lot. The existing residence is here. It's a one-story single-family residence with a one-car driveway and a one-car garage. Here he has a permit issued for a two-story single-family residence with a two-car garage. So that's here, and that's undergoing construction as we speak. So that's kind of the general outline. Historically, access for this property has been by a dirt/gravel driveway through 4841 68th Street. You can kind of see the outline of the curb cut here for the entrance to 68th Street. Go over some basics for the project. So it's an infill project, which is a residential development in a sustainable development area. The base zone is RM-1-1. The minimum setbacks that are relevant here are the rear setback, which is 15 feet, and the side yard setback, which is 5 feet. The required parking is each residence requires 2 parking spots. Lot 1, the existing house, has the one-car garage and the one-car driveway. The proposed house, or in this case, the permitted house, is going to have a 2-car garage for the 2 parking spots. The allowable height is 30 feet. That won't be exceeded, given the proposed building is 2 stories. Planning area and land use. The existing land use is single-family detached. Hence, the existing single-family residence, and the planned land use is single-family multiple units. Hence the additional one. If I zoom in here on the typical driveway section, this is if you were to draw a cross section through the proposed private driveway, this is more or less what it would look like. It's going to be a 19-foot access easement with a 4-foot or 4.5-foot wide sidewalk, a 14-foot edge of pavement to edge of pavement traveled way. It's going to have a concrete ribbon gutter. It's an inverted private driveway, so all of the drainage is going to flow towards the center of this driveway and out towards 68th Street. If I go down, we have the existing typical section, 468th Street. And you'll see our project is basically adjacent this right of way here where I'm encircling. In front of the property, or technically 4841 68th Street, we're going to build new 6-inch type G curb and gutter. We're gonna build a new 4-inch Portland cement concrete sidewalk that'll be at least 4 feet wide. It might be 5 foot wide as shown on the screen. That's more or less kind of the existing and proposed kind of circumstances there.
Down that one just for a second.
This guy?
That's the driveway?
That helps.
Yeah, this is kind of everything mumble jumbled together. So bear with me. I've kind of highlighted the stuff I want to try to talk about here. So here's the legend for the plan. I'm going to highlight. So we're required to show visibility triangles, which basically it's for safe access into and out of the private driveway, proving that we do have that for drivers. I've also shown here we're required to provide a street tree, 24-inch box canopy tree. I've given an example of a street tree that we intend to provide out in front. This let's see, Desert Museum Palo Verde tree. Typically has a height of 20 feet, has a mature spread of 20 feet, has low water needs. It tends to not damage underground structures with its roots. So that's advantageous because we plan to propose various concrete structures underground adjacent it. It's a native tree and it's suitable under utility lines. So it seems to be a good fit for this project. At maturity, it'll be
Oh, no, yeah, we know that. How big is the one you're gonna put in? Very slow growing tree.
right. So yeah, I don't know the details. Yeah, that's kind of beyond the scope of yeah,
Take a while to grow.
of my landscape architecture abilities. But so on the public right of way here that I'm showing now, kind of this general area, you can see where we propose the street tree, which is right behind the right of way. We actually don't have a ton of space within the right of way to propose it, but we're permitted to propose it within, I think it's 10 feet of the public right of way. So you can kind of see it here, adjacent, just south of this visibility triangle here. It's going to be a 14-foot wide driveway, concrete driveway. And you can see here's kind of the northern property line right here. And then we only have 50 feet of public right of way to squeeze in all of our improvements. So here we have an existing sump curb inlet. So that's at the low point in the street that can't really be moved. So we're kind of constrained by that. So again, here is the driveway to the north. To the south, we have the new curb and gutter that we're going to install here all the way down to this power pole, more or less. And we're going to install, of course, a new water service for the properties, a new sewer service for the properties. Yeah, what else am I missing? And then like here is the public sidewalk that you can see along the right way. Yeah, that's more or less that. Oh, going back up real quickly. So I did highlight the cross sections we've drawn through the site. We have one kind of west to east and we have one north to south. And if we go down to this page here, we'll zoom in on the east to west section. Not much to show here. I've highlighted kind of the existing ground and the finished grade, the proposed finished grade, to kind of see that there's not that much earthwork going on here for this project. There's maybe a 1 foot elevation difference, at least in this direction. So there's not a whole ton of earthwork, I guess, underneath the building and around the building. I've highlighted the rear setback here. We're meeting it. The minimum is 15 feet. We're at 19.75 feet. If I go to the other section, which is the north-south direction, you can kind of see the finished. This is going to be the proposed building with the proposed private driveway. Here's the sidewalk. Here's your ribbon gutter where it's going to convey all the drainage. And you can see we've met the side yard setbacks of 5 feet minimum. Here is 6.5 and here's 5.
How do they determine on a lot like this, what's the side yard and what's the back? Because it's kind of.
Yeah, it's
fuzzy.
based on the existing zoning. So that based on the base zone. The base zone
The
says,
total lot, the big lot.
yeah, it's just
When you're done,
the
your new
base zone.
lot's gonna be yeah, it's gonna change. Your front yard, front would be on the driveway.
Right, so the way that we're getting around that is we're filing for a neighborhood development permit, which is, it's a small lot subdivision under the small lot subdivision ordinance. Yeah, it's a supplemental regulation that allows us to maintain the existing setbacks and divide the lot and put in the new house.
That is a nice one.
When was that ordinance established? Small lot?
I don't know when it was
No,
established,
that one.
Been around for a long time.
but
Okay.
I
So
do
decades.
have this
Yeah,
here.
I
This
would
is
say
popping
decade.
up. Yeah, so we got here, chapter 14, article 3, division 3. This is where you're gonna find kind of all of the supplemental details that these will supersede the typical tentative map regulations.
Added in 97.
So effective in 2000.
Well, some amendments, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, if I scroll through this real quickly, I can touch on some things. So again, this is an infill project, so it requires a neighborhood development permit, which we are processing concurrently. Scroll down quite a ways and you get to the supplemental site development permit regulations for small lot subdivisions. Permitted in RM 1-1, which is what we are. It has a maximum of 3 bedrooms, which, as you'll see in an upcoming sheet, that we have a maximum of 3 bedrooms. Again, here's a table that kind of outlines some of these things. Setback requirements are for the base zone. And you'll see here, only the setbacks that apply to the pre-subdivided lot apply. That's kind of the most important detail for us in our project moving forward. And then let's see, scrolling down even further, we have the driveway width for small lot subdivisions. The required width is 12 feet minimum for 10 or fewer parking spaces, which applies for our project. We're proposing a 14-foot wide driveway because, again, my client, Mr. McKinley, has plans to subdivide the adjacent lot that he also owns.
And all the electrical and the water that you were talking about are gonna also take care of that new addition?
Yes. Yeah,
Is it
yeah.
big enough?
Yeah, everything that's proposed for this project is gonna not only take care of the existing residents, the residents that's permitted and under construction, but it's actually gonna provide some utilities that will supply the ultimate subdivision that my client, wishes to proceed with in the future. Oh, you have a question? You can go
Well,
ahead and jump in.
Back
Yeah,
on you'd wanna subdivide it in 2 lots.
this is correct, yeah.
He wants to sell one of them, or is he gonna, because if he just wants to rent it out,
I think initially he wants to rent them out, but long term, yeah, like he'd like to leave this for his family and it could be
But
up to them. Yeah, either you sell them, you rent them, you have more freedom
they
to.
had a lot of issues like this on those 3 tall things behind us. They just built those a few years ago.
The
3-story
yeah, I
house
know
right
it.
there.
Yeah, I know which ones you're
They were
referring to.
rented, then selling, and back and forth, and then it's. No. Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. Because does the city require any kind of easements until this all happens?
So the only easements the city's gonna require is it's basically reciprocal access and utility easement. Yeah, so that the 2 properties, or in this case, the 3 properties actually, that they all have joint use for the access facilities and the utilities.
They shown on your parcel map?
They are more or less. I mean, it's kind of,
Somewhere.
yeah, it's tough to read, but you'll see here, proposed 19-foot private reciprocal access and utilities easement. And then if you go a little bit west, you'll see here, proposed 15-foot private utility easement. That's going to be for the water main that's going to serve all three lots.
So when you have 2 new lots here, by new state rules, will we be able to add 4 more units each of those lots?
No, there won't be space. Yeah, there simply won't be space to really add on at that point.
Good.
We're maximizing the land that we have here. And then a couple more things before I wrap up. Again, just to kind of prove, here's the architectural plans that there's 3 bedrooms, which was a requirement. There couldn't be more than 3 bedrooms. See the garage here, it fits the sizing for a 2-car garage. So that's the first floor plan and the second floor plan. And then here's the elevations from south, north, east, and west. You can kind of get an idea of the architectural design of the building. And you can see that we're underneath that maximum height requirement of 30 feet. If I zoom in here, you'll see it's 22 feet, 7 inches. A little bit further, sorry. Here's kind of a colored concept plan of the site. You can see that, again, I'm gonna try to trace as best I can with the cursor, but here's the lot we're trying to split right now. And you can see here's the existing residence, here's the proposed residence. In the dark green, that's going to be like the proposed pervious areas, things like plants, shrubbery, anything that can water can infiltrate into the soil. Down here we have our street tree with kind of the mature projected 20-foot canopy. Again, some public landscape space here in the public right of way and right behind the public right of way where the tree is. And then you have your concrete driveway and public, private approach, curb opening, and then your private driveway, which is going to be partially AC paved and then partially concrete, basically up to the end of the proposed house here. Then this area here, that's 4841 68th Street. Again, my client, he owns this lot as well. Just kind of wanted to show you what it looks like in relation to this other lot, and how this, you can see that this driveway may serve this lot in the future. If I scroll down, here's kind of again, this is very preliminarily plotted, but here is the kind of tentative site plan for 4841 68th Street. You'll see we're going to build upon this existing driveway, at least it will be existing at that time. And we're going to construct it all the way through the site. And actually at this time, we're also intending on constructing all the way up to Amherst, and it'll be a one-way drive from 68th Street all the way up through the site and up to Amherst. And it'll serve the two buildings from 4845 68th Street lot split. He has two buildings on 4841 68th Street that are in permit and plan processing right now. Those are expected to be construction early next year, and the ultimate subdivision will probably be more than a year away, honestly. And it's going to consist of an additional, looks like 7 units. So it'll be 9 units total for that subdivision.
How does the tree qualify with its location? Looks like it's more on the other lot.
Right, so going back cursor.
Is there just no room in front of what exists?
That's basically what it is. I'm going to zoom in on that public right-of-way portion. So again, we're required to obviously install a new driveway. That has to be 14 feet, but it also has these what are they called? Like little wedges, basically, like flares, curb flares, and those are 3 feet minimum in width. So before you know it, we have 14, we have 3, and then we have 3 on the other side, and then we have this sump curb inlet that cannot be relocated north or south because it's already at the low point of the street. It's already collecting that drainage.
You don't want to wreck that.
We don't want to move that. We can move it east or west, but we can't really move it north or south. Otherwise, we're entering into like pavement warping and kind of going out into the street unnecessarily to warp the pavement. So we're really left with this limited area here. Struggling with the mouse cursor. This area here. So the tree wants to go there, but we actually have an underground pipe, an underground storm drain pipe right here. And you can't have the street tree within, I think it was 5 feet of underground utilities. So then we also introduced the new water services, and before you know it, there's just nowhere to put it actually in the public right of way. So what the city does is they say, okay, well, you're almost guaranteed to have space on your private property, and we can impose the requirement on your private property for the public good. Hence the street tree location here.
The other side of the driveway, there's a house right up to the curb.
Yeah, if I go up real quick. Again, here's the property line from the cursor to the cursor right there. That's the northern property line, and you can see the driveway again. That had to be a minimum 3 feet off the property line. We're at 5.5 so that we could propose this private walkway, private sidewalk. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're using in land development, you're using every last inch of space. So
The water line.
And
If I could,
Yep.
so You're already building the second house.
Correct.
How did that get permitted without having the lot split happen first?
Right. The reason it gets permitted is because the land is already zoned for multiple single family units.
Okay.
That's the planned land use for this property.
Okay. So for our action next month, we just have to approve the lot split.
Correct. Yeah, it's up to you guys to determine whether or not we basically met all of the requirements to actually subdivide the lot.
And do you already have, or at some point in the future, are you going to get a cycles letter for this, or
So yes, I provided Lynn,
that's in the
yeah, I provided Lynn the latest plans that we submitted to the city, along with their project issues report and our response to that project issues report.
Okay.
So yeah, for whoever is, interested, if you don't already have a copy of those items, we can get you a copy of those
No,
items.
I'm sure I do. I
Yeah.
don't get into the hairy details, but
Yeah.
so do you anticipate having all of those issues completed by the next meeting?
We do, yeah. The only issues remaining, and they're really just for technical reasons, is we have to record the mutual maintenance and access agreement, which is for the easement. But that couldn't be technically recorded until all of these details, these design details are sorted out with the city. And really, I think that was it. I don't know if anyone noted there was only like 2 or 3 remaining outstanding comments, and that's one of them. But again, we can't even record that until the city agrees to like the driveway alignment, the driveway width, where we put the sidewalk and those items.
So mostly the lot split advisory vote we're gonna have next month is just kind of after the fact. You've already built the house, pretty much.
The house is under construction. Yeah, they've already poured the slab for the building.
Okay.
That is correct. Yeah. I guess, yeah, this is kind of a new process for me, but my understanding would be if something was brought to our attention that, we're not following the municipal code here or there, or maybe we, are not following a particular requirement that we maybe overlooked or the city overlooked, something along those lines.
But one of the legal things you need to do is this memorandum that happens at the very end of the process, and that's why the lot split's happening after the building has already started construction. Is that how if I'm understanding? It just seems backwards to me that the lot split's happening after the building's already started.
It is a unique project in that sense. I mean, honestly, I've worked on 50 projects in my 5 years in industry, and this is the first time that I've worked on a project where it did go in this direction.
If
So-
it occurs to me, or it seems to me that if you got denied on the lot split, you're still okay with having the 2 buildings there because it's
Yeah.
known for multiple units. So
Mhm.
in some kind of
Correct.
event where they say,
Mm.
so either way, there's going to be 2 houses there.
Either way is, yeah. It's just
Correct.
Our advisory vote of whether they can.
Where of course it becomes advantageous to split the lot is it could provide financial opportunities to further subdivide the adjacent property.
For sure.
I'm not 1,000% sure that project will move forward. I'm 990% sure that project will move forward either way, but there's a chance that it won't. And of course, the goal here is to provide as many housing units and as many lots as my client can provide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
That actually was part of my question. You've got the 2 other houses that are, I guess, south. Is this north, that are south of?
Yeah, these guys,
Those guys are already in the permitting process.
they're already being processed. That is
And
correct.
is that big lot, the 4861, has that all been split already? Or is that going to be split afterwards, very similar to what we're looking at now?
No, so this lot 4841 68th Street is a vacant lot currently.
Right.
Where we have our proposed private driveway, which is going to be concrete and AC paved. It's just a dirt gravel road basically for access to both 4845 and 4841. And so yeah, currently we've only begun process for this lot split, but then later this year, we're going to go into the city and we're going to propose basically this site plan, which is going to be 4841 cut up into, again, I guess it's 9 legal lots and 9 housing units.
And Do you know I'm sure you do, know the approximate size of the lots that are, that for each building?
They're all kind of different. If you can see, and I'm gonna do the best I can outlining this with the mouse cursor.
Like, are they?
But like, here's one, for example, that I'm outlining right now. Right, so there's one, and then opposite it, here's another one. You can see this second one is half the size of the other. But also the first one that I outlined is encumbered by the private drive, by the sidewalk, potentially something behind the house, maybe like a drainage easement. And we haven't really entered into final engineering where we'd work out all of these details for underground storm drain, for sewer, for private water. We just kind of have a plan kind of in mind currently.
Do you have an estimate on what the lot sizes are?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
is
what I
the
wondered
one like
too. What is the lot
1,500?
size?
I do, it's not prepared for this presentation. Yeah, but yeah, I do have that information. Sure.
Kind of compare it.
That is gonna be right here.
Small lots are great. I mean,
Yeah, but there's
I'm
no
just
room for
curious as to
trees.
how
I mean,
tall
you
they are.
look there and there's no room for.
So yeah, the current lot is in the 5,000 to 6,000 square feet range, and you can see when it's split up here, you have one that's 2,700 and one that's 2,300.
Those are good. I mean, they used to be like, right approximate 2,500. So that's pretty close to that approximation.
Bob, you had a question?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, you know, we have our development subcommittee. I mean, I think it might be useful for us to have a site walk.
Right, it's an action item. Next.
Okay. Well, and then my other question is related to the Palo Verde. That isn't exactly a native tree for coastal San Diego. I would suggest that you look at the urban forestries, San Diego's urban forestries tree palette, and I would urge that a native tree be planted.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend that anyone with suggestions reach out, and you can, if you don't already have my contact information, you can get it from Lynn, or you can get it from the project issues response letter that I sent out. And I'm also going to leave behind some business cards so everyone can get in touch with me, like if they need to. But yeah, I'm absolutely open to suggestions or recommendations. This was simply, I don't know, it's one of the go-to trees that I've seen on various landscape plans for the area. And it also was in the city street tree selection guide. And it did kind of meet the things that you brought up, in that this isn't really a coastal area and it's not really a coastal tree. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Why they like it, Bob, is the Mexican Palo Verdes, which are more common around here. It's a hybrid of the blue Palo Verde and the Mexican. And what they did was they bred the thorns out of it. So if you're around the Mexican Palo Verdes that are native to this area, you'll find that they have some badass thorns on them. And
I know they do. Yeah. No, they're also very brittle, and so they often get uprooted in the wind.
yeah, I haven't seen that before, but
Yeah.
I think that we've got both of them on our property, and the Mexican, it grows really fast, but it's dirty. It drops a lot of stuff.
That too.
Yeah.
We have one more
You like
question from Vicky.
Did you say that the driveway would be 14 foot wide?
It's technically considered, yeah, a 14-foot wide driveway.
So if a fire truck or ambulance or whatever needs to go down through there, you talked about the house one has the driveway and a 1-car garage, and then house 2 has its two space park garage.
Correct.
That sounds perfect.
Is there going to be any allowance that people can park their cars on that driveway? I would be concerned about access for fire trucks,
Right.
especially when you take it over to the future expansion, you know, for
Sure.
the subdivision that you have there.
Sure. So when we actually present on the adjacent project and kind of all of those details, I'm going to outline a fire plan that one will have to have like a designated like fire plan sheet. So I'm not quite there yet, but in the case of this project here, a fire truck can pull into and back out of a space, I think up to 150 feet. But this has been vetted by the fire department and they are on board with it.
I'm just concerned about if somebody parks if it's 14 foot wide, and somebody parks their car in there.
So yeah, so
then
they
there would-
technically
there
won't
might
be
an
allowed
issue
to.
To the second house, if there's a fire there.
Right. So they technically won't be allowed to. The driveway is going to be encompassed by this 0-inch modified curb, and the top of it will have to be painted red. It'll be painted red, and it'll have like fire lane, no parking signage on it.
Great.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Unfortunately, that probably will still happen, but at least we're going to do everything we can to make sure people aren't.
But if there's a fire, so they can back out of it. They don't need a hammerhead or something at the end, temporary.
Correct. They can technically make their way onto this private drive and back out of it.
Then who owns the little piece of land left between there and Amherst?
So that would be, and I don't know if I have a good.
Private or is it a city?
So Mr. McKinley has an access easement from 4841 through his neighbor to the north up to Amherst.
Oh, good.
Wow. So one-way street will work.
Gonna have to. The sump inlet is kind of restricting our, I guess, our initial plan, which was to provide a 20-foot wide driveway. You have to have 20 foot if you want to go two-way. You have to have 14 feet min if you want to do one way, but we can't push the sump inlet far enough to get 20 feet.
Surprised it's that big of an empty lot up.
So it is one way.
It's gonna be one way. It can be two-way up to 10 parking spaces. So we'd have 2 for each of these, and we'd have 2 for each of these houses for a total of 8.
What's the topography like on the lot? Is it fairly flat, like,
Yeah,
or is it gonna require a lot of?
it's pretty flat, and you can see the contours here. I think this is a 456. Yeah, 456. Here's 455. So like a little tiny mound here, but then this is all like 454. There is like a little low point here. But it's all for the most part pretty flat. You can see also from this cross section.
So not a lot of cut and fill.
The existing ground is the dash line. Yeah, so, and you can see here, it doesn't change much from one end to the other. Same as on the top. The existing ground doesn't change elevation much from one end to the other.
Right.
Yeah, this whole project's mostly going to be in a cut scenario.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
right,
Bob,
cool.
anyone? I think we're done.
All right, thank you.
No, I'm
Thank you.
fine, Lynn.
Thank you much,
Thank
David.
you.
Very nice. All right, so we're on to our action items for tonight. And the first one, I'm Bob. Please feel free to jump in. Our planning subcommittee for this project for a site visit.
Yeah,
Can you lead that for us?
yes, I certainly can. I'd like to do it within the next week or so if we could.
Okay. I think we have to notice it.
Oh, we have to.
We have to notice it, Bob.
We have to notice it.
Yep.
Okay.
Um,
And so, Lynn, is this gonna come back in November then? For approval?
yes.
Okay.
So I think David's, did he leave? Yeah, I think he's submitting his cycle responses at the end of October. So our next meeting is November 14th. I don't remember. So if we can't do it in the next week, are you back in town at the end of October?
Yeah. I'll have to look at my schedule, but I think that we certainly could have the meeting, or we could have the site walk before our next Eastern area meeting in November.
Okay.
Okay,
And so, yeah, I'll coordinate with you and I'll get you David's, Willie's information's here on a card.
yeah, no,
so
that
we
sounds
can-
great, Lynn. I think that we'll just need to figure out, being that we've gone through some changes with the board, we may need to identify some additional folks to serve on our subcommittee.
Right, it's been so long, I don't even remember who's on the subcommittee, Danielle? No.
I'd like
It's
to do
about-
the walkthrough even if I'm not on the subcommittee. Is
Yeah.
that okay?
Well, who wants to do the walkthrough? And they
Who
can
wants to do the
separate this
walkthrough?
time around.
Raise your hand, Laura? And me.
And Bob, you're interested in the walkthrough?
Well,
right?
Bob's gonna do.
Oh, certainly, I'll lead
Yeah.
it.
Yes, Bob can
Yeah.
lead it.
This is gonna do it.
End of October.
Walk around the lot.
Are you gonna send out an email when that's gonna be so that we can proceed?
If people want to.
Just have to make sure we don't have a quorum.
Right,
Right.
So I guess 6 or less, 6 people or less would be okay.
yeah,
We at 13 right now.
yep.
3, 4, 5.
You got 3 for sure, so 3 other people can show up if they want. So this time around.
Yeah, why don't, let's get together and we'll set a date for it and then I'll circulate it to see who else wants to be
Yeah,
on it.
that sounds good, Lynn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Uh-huh.
Done. Okay, Laura, we're looking at a draft that you did, posing, I'm calling it HAP 2.0.
Actually, Alex has gone through and made some recommendations to changes. I think that maybe if you haven't looked at it, he can just read it with his changes in it and then we can see what you think.
Okay.
People could probably read it, right? You have it.
Mhm.
Yeah, at the end of the first paragraph, I just thought that, we could add, it needs significant improvements. Because that will tie in with the next sentence. And there I propose that until HAP 2.0 is improved, begins that sentence. And basically, we're saying, postpone doing it until there's improvements. So it's just a matter of rearranging and adding a couple things there. In the fourth paragraph, I just told Laura, after residential, she should get rid of comma and have and ownership. And get rid of the comma and the is after for all income levels. It just, as I was reading, I kept stumbling over that because that verb is kind of in the middle of this. Fifth paragraph, after ownership, get rid of the comma and put and lack parking without single family residential and ownership. And lack parking, parks and open space.
Mhm.
Okay, that's all for that page. Then second page, second paragraph. Just add some language. We encourage that such housing be built on campuses rather than being, and just again, kind of you need a verb there. But she drafted this.
Actually, it's agonizing.
And then, let's see, then, the last line, after community, put in a comma. And then the final paragraph, or the second to last, I should say. We would like documentation that explains which climate action plan goals are being met. And then finally, the very last sentence, with work on these matters, HAP 2.0 will be a more realistic, and then I want to add, and sustainable housing plan. Since sustainability is supposed to be part of it. So anyway, those are the that is like suggested. I don't have any more content changes, but.
Bob, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think Laura did a great job. I think there was a lot of information that conveyed there that I think is really important. And like Alex had talked about some edits, I think it's all there. I think we just need to massage it a little bit. And do we, Laura, when or Lynn, when do we need to send the letter out, do you think?
They're thinking that, well, we heard from CPC that they don't think that the city is going to consider it before our next CPC meeting, which is in a few weeks. So I
Okay,
would say we have a few weeks.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I'm thinking if we could just research, I mean, with Alex's comments, if we could circulate that version to the group and then we have a look at it. Let's work on maybe getting it out within the next week or so.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Then approve at the next meeting, is that it?
No, I think we need to approve it before the next meeting. People are thinking that it's going to be heard
That's what
in November. So we would need to do something, I think by the end of the month or within the next
okay,
10 days, week to 10 days.
yeah,
And you're right, there's a lot to consider in the housing action plan. So it was, and reviewing all the changes and the things they're trying to do. It's a big package and I think they really do need more consideration like this states. So it should be a nice, well-written letter. So I appreciate everybody's review and us making it
Yeah.
stronger.
okay. I think that sounds like a plan then. So, what will the game plan be? Will each of us look at it and then get it to Lynn or
Do you
someone
want me
gonna
to
lead
put
it?
Alex, do you want me to rewrite it with Alex's changes and then resubmit it to everybody?
Or
Yeah.
send it to me and I'll write it. out.
I'm sorry, I'll send it to Lynn and Lynn will, yeah, definitely. Send it
Yeah,
to
that's
Lynn and we'll get
perfect.
it done.
Yeah.
Does that sound good? And then
Yeah.
everybody can edit from that point forward.
Uh-huh,
Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
yeah.
Okay, so what's the motion to approve then? Is it we're going to motion to approve it with changes?
Yeah, the content is approved. We
Yeah.
just want to make,
Content's approved, we just need some editorial changes.
editorial
That would be
changes.
it. Yeah. I so moved.
Second, Danielle.
All right,
I was agreeing that.
yeah, it's a very good letter. Thank you. Okay,
Danielle.
Danielle,
Motion made or?
Yep, Alex.
Yep.
Oh, you did a second?
All right,
No, I'm
um,
the mover, she's the second. Oh, okay.
all right, roll call vote. Bob,
Yes,
okay, John,
Yes.
Alex.
Yeah.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
All right. Approved unanimously. Thank you.
You should be up here.
All right, on to the next action item. We talked about it, but we didn't get it even on our agenda last month, to write a letter of support for the observatory for Oak Park Library. So I think what we're doing is we want to draft a letter this month and we'll approve it next month. All right. Do you have any letters that you could send us as templates?
I will send you a letter that I got from the neighborhood house.
Okay,
It's a very great letter of support.
all right.
And you know, they have a lot of the Head Start programs throughout San Diego, so they was very.
Okay, yeah, if you have a couple samples you can forward.
Thank you.
Yep. Do I have a motion to approve drafting of the letter?
I'll make that motion. I think it's very exciting.
I do too. And
I'll
who's gonna
second it.
second? Andy second. All right. Roll call vote. Bob,
yes,
John,
Yeah.
Alex,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Danielle,
Yes.
Alita,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Approved unanimously. Thank you. We'll have a letter, that'll be our action item next month. We'll approve that letter so we can get out for you. Okay, that would be great. Thank you. Terms and conditions. For our
You did good.
side. Bob, did you have a question?
no, oh, no, I'm sorry, let me put my hand
Okay.
down.
Okay.
There we go.
So, did everyone have a chance to review this document? Because it's really, okay. It's, yeah, it's pretty cursory. We pretty much just left it as is. We corrected some grammar. And used, EACPC throughout it. There's really nothing else to add because most of the changes we're gonna make will be in our bylaws. So, I think if that one's done, we'll be on to the last one from November. That one's gonna take a little bit more work.
Yes, they will.
So I need a motion to approve that as is, unless someone has any discussion, anything they want to talk about on it. No,
I'll make the motion.
thank
To
you,
approve
Laura.
the terms and conditions.
I'll second it.
And Alex seconds. Bob?
Yes,
Motion to approve.
yes,
John?
Yeah.
Alex?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Danielle?
Yes.
Alita?
Yeah.
Jennifer?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Thank you. We're done with our action items tonight in record time. And even faster than that, it's going to be the treasurer's report. Because there is nothing to do until we have the minutes approved from last month so that we can go to the bank and do the transfer of the account. So, maybe next month we'll have a treasurer's report. Maybe. Could happen.
As soon as we can go to the bank.
Yeah, well, that's another story in itself.
Should be the same as last time before that.
If you can get hold of Linda, it'll be easier. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can, but if you can, and she can accompany you.
We've been trying to get this account transferred for about 2 years now.
I know, based on my experience with banks and the way they like to transfer and not transfer and what they require sometimes.
And what they require from civic groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, nonprofits.
Or any group,
Yeah.
If the person used to be the treasurer and they're gone, sometimes you have to open a whole new account and it's miserable.
I don't know, for $75, I might write a check myself. Seems easy.
There is that.
Aggravation.
Yeah, time is money.
It really is.
There you go. We can all pitch in.
We'll just pass the coffee
Make
can
it work.
around.
It really is worth more. than-
Good idea.
Ten Starbucks coffee.
Okay, review and approval of the September minutes. Kristen, thank you very much for taking care of these. Did everyone have an opportunity to go over them?
Have any changes?
Any
Danielle?
changes?
So
I don't either. They were good.
You did a good job.
yeah, I thought you did a great job, yeah.
Okay, motion to approve as is. Second by Danielle, John, or Bob. Approved minutes as is, Bob,
Yes,
John,
Yes.
Alex, Andy,
Yes.
Danielle, Alita, Jennifer,
Yes.
Kristen.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Approved without objection. Thank you very much. Subcommittee reports, 2 minutes, please, for each community. And let's work backwards this time. Let's start with Webster.
Oh.
I like to shake it up.
Shakes catch people off guard.
Yep, that's the intent.
Well, thanks to D4 and Bruce, we have a cleanup event that is happening on October 16th. There are going to be a couple of dumpsters. It's to help some neighbors that have some overgrown yard material that's headed into the canyon. Some people have gotten fined from the fire department for the first time in years, and so it's kind of a community event to help them get rid of all of the fire.
Is it brown or is it green?
It's brown,
Okay.
most of it, yeah.
What time?
From 8 to 12,
You said it was November next month?
October
October
16th.
Is that a Monday?
It is,
I just wanted to make sure
Okay.
we're in the right month.
yes,
Okay, so it's a Monday.
it is a Monday. Yep.
Okay.
It says it's in front of 1835 49th Street. And I think that is all that we have going on at the moment too.
It's enough, lots of cleanup stuff going on.
That's very interesting. I've never heard of a cleanup like that. That's a great idea.
Mhm.
Oh,
Help
Kensington,
them out, yeah.
Yeah,
Kensington
it-
Canyons does it all the time. They have
Do
people
they?
chop it and they have people babysit dumpsters in front of their house
Just for
for a few
greenery.
days over the
Mhm.
weekend. So the neighborhood can bring all of the fire. Yeah, it's a Kensington Fire Safe. You want
I
to-
love it. I've never
And we
heard
really have to
I
thank
love it.
Bruce for organizing it. because it was brought up at our last Webster meeting and there were some neighbors that just didn't have the financial means or the manpower to be able to go out there and take care of it. So we
That's
really
great.
appreciate that.
Good, very good. Bob, anything new in Rolando?
Well, we started the new year off with our September meeting with Amy Reichert and Monica Montgomery Stepp discussing what their thoughts are about what they would do as the new District 4 supervisors. And we had a great turnout. I don't know, there must have been I would say at least 50 people there. And so it really brought a lot of people out of the community. And we'll have to see what the November election brings. So we also after several months of absence, the Rolando Village sign is refurbished and good as new. Thanks to one of our neighborhood residents who put forth the financial to do that work and his ingenuity. And so hopefully the sign will be there for another 25 years. So,
That
but
looks really good.
yeah, that's my report for Rolando Village.
Thanks, Bob. Oak Park, 2 minutes,
Yeah, we have some good news.
2 minutes worth.
City of San Diego, District 4, our council member, Monica Montgomery, and Mr. Bruce again, and staff, Oak Park will be getting $5,800 to do street panels.
Oh, nice.
So we worked on it. They helped us out so much. Staff really helped us out on this, and we got the grant through Groundworks, because we're not a 501. So that really gonna help us out and make ourselves completely instead of getting on the grant, but finally getting taught. So that's a good thing. The other good thing is that thanks to the friends of the Oak Park Library, Vicky, and that you're here, we finalized the RP recommendations and on our wish list and all that today. It has been submitted to the department for hopefully completing the RFP and out by this month. Construction of the new Oak Park.
Excellent.
Yes. So additionally, the proposal for the observatory, which is we will not have an observatory unless we have all our things together. So our proposal is done. I met with two potential sponsors of this, and they're really, really excited about it. And I blame her for me getting all of this research done, because I have learned so much. It's amazing what I have learned, and Vicky came up with that idea, and it's an amazing thing for me because I have learned a lot, and I will be contacting Jose Hernandez, the astronaut. I'm not sure if you know about him, but he was featured in Hispanic Heritage Month, and he has a great story, and that's that he has motivated me even more because of my background and how I was raised. And that it'll help so many children, not only in our community, but throughout San Diego City and for all the children. And I really appreciate everybody's support here, our library and what we're doing, because it's been 20 years that we've been really, really pushing for this. So whatever you do, keep it going and keep on asking and asking and asking and knocking on the door, because if you don't do that, you won't get. So just put your positivity there for me. I have some really good potential donors, and just let it, help me out with your positive energy and it will help.
Yeah, we need to get our communities to do, even if everybody could do small donations. Or, they do bricks sometimes with your name on them. There's all sorts of maybe small donation ideas we could come up with.
Well, that would really help us out. And there's all collaboration.
Right.
Like Webster, Dee was to give us a letter and thanks to Kirsten that when she asked me if it was I hadn't addressed your meeting yet, which I will, if it's necessary, I will do that. Because Webster is right there and Webster Elementary and Old Fork Elementary and the other, I forgot the other elementary, but the
Carver.
Yeah, so they're all, and specifically the children, but I tell you what, if Johannes Long was here, he would tell you his experience of going to the Baltimore Rock Library in observatory. He's had a great experience. So if you have time, go to Rancho Mirage, especially on Thursday, because he says that the tour is great, but you can see activity at night on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for all of your support and believing in what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Alita. Let's do El Cerrito. Sure, why not?
Okay, at our last month's meeting, we had the principal of Crawford High School come and talk to the community, and it was actually a very good talk. He's actually the interim principal. The man who was there has left. He's very well liked. The new principal, the interim, is Diego Gutierrez, and he was just talking about the school, the challenges that it has. The students at Crawford speak 60 different languages. So it's one of the most diverse high schools in the country in terms of just the ability to communicate and some of the issues and difficulties, obviously, of teaching a student body that has such a wide variety of languages. We talked about what issues around the community that impact the school and things that the school does that impact the community. He's very welcoming and open, and we offered to work with him and the school and the teachers to help the high school succeed. So that was very good. The other thing, kind of interesting, I suppose, is on El Cajon Boulevard, there's a shop that's been there for a while called the Little Flower. It recently changed owners, and the new owners, or the old owners, I should say, actually got a what is it? It's a community development grant, right?
Yeah,
Storefront grant. And so I had the storefront repainted, and then on the wall, it's on El Cajon and 56th Street. On the side of the building on 56th Street, it's a cinder block wall, the side of the building. They had a mural painted. And the mural was done by a group called Art Reach, which goes all over the county. And they got money from the city and from the College Area Business Improvement District to fund this. There was a ribbon cutting on a week ago Saturday. Laura and I went. Shanito Rivera showed up and other folks. We met the owners, Maria and Dale Grimm. It came to us as in a flyer from the college area called the Heart of the College District, right? And we're going, it's on South El Cajon Boulevard. That's not even in the college district. So we went and talked to the owner and said, by the way, you're in the heart of El Cerrito, actually, geographically in the center of El Cerrito, and told her, hey, we're happy to work with you. And if you want to put advertisements in our newsletter, and, we wish you all the best. And very nice people who bought the place. So anyway, it was a very interesting experience to be there. And that's really about it, I think, in terms of things that we did in the last month or so. But it was good. And we actually would encourage you, if you have businesses in your area that want to freshen up the facade, Art Reach will help put up a mural. It's actually a very pretty mural, which does have a heart in it. It's a red heart and then a bunch of green flowers all around it. So if you drive by it, it looks like an actual heart. So that's how they got the idea. Right? So anyway, it's pretty.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Jennifer, John, what's new in Redwood Village?
Redwood Village doesn't have a whole lot new, but I will say that the work on the Darnall School is continuing. We're not sure when the project is over with. I know it had 3 phases.
Never.
Yeah. It is a huge project, and I know that the first phase is nearing completion because they're in the paving part of it now, and the building that have a 3-story building that they built now. Now, our understanding was that they're going to build a large sports field out there in the center of the complex. And once they've commissioned the new 3-story building, they're going to start in phases demoing the existing 1960s buildings and begin replacing those. So I think we've had it's been about 2 years so far construction. So I imagine there'll be another 3-4 years of it if it's going at the same level.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big project, and it was part of that, like so many of the school things, part of that
Modernization.
yeah, back in 2016, that huge
Funding.
spending tax increase or bond. And so that's really all that's happening in our neighborhood. I mean, Streamview goes on, but
Is there a way to get a joint use field agreement with the Parks and Rec and because it's an elementary school, so it should be eligible for that.
there's a possibility.
Oh,
It's a charter.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're talking to Ifton and Parks and Rec seem to indicate that all schools are, especially in areas that don't have enough parks, all schools are up. The high school's not. If you have elementary and junior high, I
Middle
think.
school, yeah, some middle schools, but
Some don't.
yeah, but not all of them. Mostly elementary.
Yeah, but this is elementary, right?
It's elementary and junior high.
Yeah,
6th
Ifton
grade,
is one
so
that we were kind of told, yeah, we could, now.
that would be cool.
The parents aren't happy in our neighborhood about it because Ifton has a lot of Somali Muslim students. And the fathers come to the school meetings, and they didn't seem real pleased with the idea that the neighbors, the surrounding neighbors would be able to kind of access the school where their kids are going. So we'll see what happens with it, but you wouldn't have that same situation.
No, I don't think so, but yeah, I'm not sure what the schedule is. If anything,
I'd throw it out early.
yeah, I was gonna say there's an ever-changing cast of characters as far as running the school. So as soon as you meet somebody, as soon as your coffee with them is done, there's a new person there. So
They won't even.
Well, Parks and Rec though is kind of standard. If they could get in on it.
Roberto, you had a comment about that?
Yeah, so I know you mentioned to Jennifer and John about the contact. I finally got a hold of them today. They were not in the office for a while, so we're going to be connecting with them, addressing some of the issues you mentioned with traffic. I know that was one of them that you mentioned, and also if exploring a joint use agreement is something that you want, we're happy to work with the residents and the school district and residents alike to make sure that they can have a park. And I know Troy's Triangle is coming, but I think in the temporary it'd be nice for folks. I know my aunt lives on Hughes, so it'd be really wonderful to see folks utilize that field. So we'll be checking up on that.
cool. Yeah, I'm not sure when it's going to be finished, but it would be cool. When I was a kid, I grew up across the street from a school that had a huge field, and it was like where all the kids just went and played all the time. There were basketball courts, and we had impromptu football games and sort of self-organized. It was great. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. It was awesome.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, we had joint use parks before we knew they were joint use parks.
Yeah.
Rolando Park, I just want to mention our cleanup on October 28th again. It's at Xena Canyon. We're not going too far down because I toured the canyon a few weeks ago with the principal and Terry Hoskins and his new CRO replacement. And you 300 feet in, you're into about 15 encampments. So we're cleaning about 300 feet down, and the school district's going to be cleaning the rest of the canyon up. But we have the city open space person is sitting out a resource manager and a trails planner to look at Xena Canyon. We are pushing to have it designated open space, and the city would take over the management of it. The school district would still own it, but it would be managed by the city, which is great for the residents because you can finally get it done and actually get something done then. And it's an open space canyon where people can hike and have trails again. I think that's about all I had to say. Council
exciting.
President
What
Elo
time?
Rivera will be joining us for a little bit at our canyon cleanup on Saturday.
What's the time?
We're starting at 7:30. 7:30 to 9 we'll be in the canyon. From 9 to 10:30, where it's a bulky item drop-off that is open for volunteers and community council members only. And then from 10:30 to 12, it's open to Redwood Village and Rolando Park for the rest of the residents. So that's that. And that's our 7th cleanup of the year. Bettina and I have one more cleanup on University in December. Then we're going to drink wine for about 4 months.
Wait, where is this?
So that's it for community reports. Bob, University Avenue tree canopy.
Yeah, and I don't really, thanks, Lynn. I don't really have a lot to mention, but I mean, we heard from Roberto that this is, we put together a request, and he championed it with Council President Elo Rivera, and with respect to the Sand Egg project and how few trees are proposed as part of that project and how important it would be to have a tree canopy along University. I thank Roberto for championing that. I thank Lynn and John for assisting in putting together. What we did is we basically refreshed our CIP requests that we put together last year. And we can share that with all of you. And I think what's important now is we need to understand when the rubber's going to hit the road, and we need to get our communities involved and interested in this project, and make them aware of it, so that when it comes up before City Council, next year, we have a strong voice promoting the project for our communities. So
Yeah, I think we figured we need at least 10 people from each of the 4 communities at Align University, so that we end up with a group of about 40 people to show up at the budget hearings and speak out. So
yeah, and Lynn, you said that was in May of next year?
that's what I saw on the calendar. Is that right, Roberto?
Yeah. So it gives us plenty of time to get a dozen or so people together for each of our 4 communities that adjoin University Avenue, and of course, and the other communities too. So
this won't be the only tree canopy in Eastern area, I hope.
exactly, yeah.
Thanks,
Yes,
Bob.
Lynn. Yes, Lynn, that date is
It's
correct.
in May. Okay, thank you. I looked it up, but thank you for confirming. Parks and Recreation, Danielle.
Yes, so at Colina Park, they're having their Halloween event on Friday, the 27th in the evening. It's a trunk and treat this time. It's a little different, where I think there's gonna be low riders there with candy.
I know, I'm gonna try and ask
that'll
that they
be-
don't do that, because we've had problems with lowriders congregating in the parking lot up by the food store on El Cajon Boulevard and 54th. And then they have all kinds of weird noises that you wouldn't believe. It sounds like gunshots or firecrackers going off all the time. They're all looking at each other's cars, and then they drag race up and down 54th Street. And it's not nice. It's not safe. It's a disaster for the community. It goes on way too long. And we've had to call the police twice on those
So this
kind of
would be a positive
gatherings.
thing for the lowriders to do in the park. They're gonna be.
Yeah,
parked
but
right
then
next to the rec
afterwards,
center.
we can just see them all going up there. And so it's a weekend night.
So give a heads up to the CRO, please.
I'm gonna
It's
ask,
on a Friday
actually
night.
ask the park not to have that. It's not been good for the community. It's very dangerous. You try driving down that and all of a sudden you've got these guys racing each other down the street. It's only 2 lanes in each direction. It's no fun.
And you can talk to David about it, but I
Yeah.
think they're gonna cancel it for this year, so.
Well,
Just
it's been really
be
bad.
Mindful of it and give feedback afterwards.
It's been really bad.
Okay. So, a trunk and treat over at Colina on Friday, the 27th, then, at the last Park and Rec Board meeting, we did pass the triangle on Federal, that was brought up and, questions were asked and everything is moving forward, for the one across the street from Sunshine. And then, in the future, hopefully we will have an information item on the grand master plan for Troy's Creek. That should be coming to the Park and Rec Board soon, either October or November. I don't have the agenda for October. So third Thursday.
That's it.
So-
Roberto, did you have a comment?
I just want to make it clear that, I totally understand your concern about the lowriders, but me coming from, I have family members that have lowriders. I think we have to just reset and be mindful that, these people are community members, they're alike, and, obviously if there's nefarious activities with some of them, then they have to be addressed, but I think overall for the community in Colina and that area, they definitely do a service for the community. A lot of the kids like it, and it's very beneficial and it's educational. And I just want to just be cautious and be mindful that we want to make sure that we don't, categorize one group or anything like that because of a few bad actors. I don't think that's fair for the majority of them, and I don't think that's fair for the community to get not what they deserve if that's what they're asking.
Well, it's been a big problem more than once on 54th Street from El Cajon Boulevard to University. And the police have been called both times and it's not been good.
Yeah, with all due respect, we have not received any inquiries, nor has Jeff received any inquiries about that. So this is brand new information to me, but I will relay that to him as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Roberto. Appreciate comments. Transportation, we talked last month, but I'm just going to table it for now because we don't really have anything to talk about. But I think maybe next month we should start talking about what direction transportation should take as a committee report if we want to continue to do it. We've sort of run out of bike lane dates, I think, at this point. But, like I mentioned last month, I think traffic calming in the older communities is a real issue. And the non-response by traffic engineering for traffic calming and mass transit. If the corridors are going to be completely infilled as part of the blueprint plan, then it's going to need a lot more transit than it has now to be effective. You would think. Anyway. I just think we should think about it and take this a different direction because I think we have more clout as a planning group to talk about traffic calming issues than individual communities do right now.
Yeah, it sounds like we all need it.
Yeah, well, some of you have more than others.
That's true.
Yeah. No, I think that's an important point, Lynn.
Well, I don't think it's totally equitable. And we need to see if we can make that work for our planning group a little better, communities in the planning group.
We've tried many times in the past with limited success because people drive where they want to drive.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm looking at some other things that are the way other cities handle complaints by communities that they don't do here. So maybe we'll talk about it next month a little bit. Our ad hoc committee for our planning group application for city council recognition. Next month is our last document that we're submitting for approval by the board. And this one is on community participation and representation plan. So please, everybody be here in person because we have to collect the demographics for our group. And when you come in, you're going to get 4 slips of paper. You're just going to fill it out and put it in my shoebox. And I'll take it home, stir it up, and that's the aggregate information that the city gets for the planning group. Age range, I think, income range, race,
Rent.
and yeah, owner, rent, and income level. I think that's it. There's only 4. And that's it. That will be our last thing to
But then don't
complete
we also have to come up with
a representation plan.
representation statements? Yeah.
Yeah, and so that is something to think about for next meeting too, is how do we do a better job of outreach? How can we do a better job? We're going to get a website set up by Groundwork. We have a Facebook presence. We all post stuff, but maybe we just need to organize it as a plan and make it consistent. I don't know. I'm really tired. I don't want to ramble, but I just feel like we're at a stalemate for outreach, how we get new members. And yeah, I know.
Yeah, and we do so much to try and be accessible. We have the Zoom meetings. We have meetings at night after most people work. I mean, some people do work at this time, but a lot don't. All our newsletters, all our community groups, we always try and do outreach. And it seems to be not just Eastern area, but all the planning groups that feel they have that challenge, that same challenge.
It is a challenge. Yeah. CPC September meeting, Laura.
We talked about, oh my gosh, what did we talked about? Mainly the different documents that we're getting ready. And we also talked about HAP 2.0. A lot of communities have come up with letters completely against it. I didn't get to see any examples of their letters, but HAP 2.0 has a lot of elements to it, which is why the letter kind of addresses so many different things, because there's so many different programs and elements to it. And some people, some areas are reluctant to have more low-income housing in their area because right now they really don't have any, and the idea that they would be getting low-income housing is a concern to them. Other areas have more than their fair share. They need, like our letter says, we need more employment opportunities and market rate housing so that we can all get in this, more equitable city profile. And so it's interesting to hear all the different points of view from all the communities, because there's a lot of different points of view, but a lot of people, a lot of planning groups outright are recommending no on HAP 2.0 in general. Yeah. And then there's a group that's working on just some language to get more clarification as to inclusionary housing and where it should be built when a big project goes up. If it's because apparently there's lots of projects going in that are market rate or even higher luxury rate kind of housing that are trading off or attempting to trade off their low income housing, but they got bonuses, like our letter states. They get the bonus for added density because they're going to provide low-income housing, but then they don't provide low-income housing in the building. They provide it off-site or in a different neighborhood. Yeah. So we're trying to get more see if the incentives for developers can be streamlined a little bit more so that they actually have on-site inclusionary housing.
Yeah, as it should be. I think.
And then the floor, oh, another big concern was all the floor ratios and how so many of the programs in the housing action package right now have floor ratios that are like, if you have a lot that is a 50 by 100 square foot lot, by the time you get all the floor ratio bonuses and stuff, you can be 80 stories tall and build that many units because of all the bonuses you can apply for and get for all sorts of various things. A little exaggeration there, but you can go real high and get all these different units in. So there's a lot of concern for that too.
Want to mention one thing I'm going to send out the link for the blueprint draft, and I'm going to provide the link for the recreation document, because I think you should all go in and look at what's being claimed there is parkland in your own community.
Yeah.
I was shocked to find out that the Xena Canyon, which is school district property, is open space, and the joint use park with the parking lot is a community park. Those just, I mean, and I think it's that way throughout the whole document, but everyone should take a look at that for their own community and look for, is it really true? Because I don't think.
Oh, we got to see what we've got.
Yeah.
That we all got.
Yeah.
What is it called?
It's the blueprint document that the city's doing. I'll get the link for you and email it out to everybody. And you should go to the recreation and take a look at the map. And the other thing is next month, we want to bring in our CIP priorities for our communities. And we'll put that all together and we'll get it submitted before the end of the year. So by December, we'll have submitted our application to the city council and a list of priorities, community priorities for our planning group. So we can take the month of December off. All right, we'll go dark in December. And I think that's it for tonight.
So the mid-city update is on hold, correct?
It's not on hold, but the smart growth study that will push it out isn't going to be completed now till 2025.
Okay.
Everything is hinging on finishing the blueprint doc.
There was some document that needed to happen, and then
Right.
we can pick up.
Yep,
pace
and
again
then we
with
can.
Mid-City.
Yep.
And then did we mention how the Department of Finance for the state has come up with figures that show that there's going to be really, in San Diego, our growth is going to be relatively small for about 10 to 20 years, and then it's going to go down, and in maybe it's 10 years it's going to go, I think 35 is around where the peak is, and then 10 years after that they expect to have fewer people than we have now in the city of San Diego.
Maybe boomers will be gone by then.
Yeah, there's
all those growth.
yeah, it was very interesting that just came out. So that also, has impacts on what we need with housing.
Exactly.
What study is that?
It's the Department of, I can send the link to Lynn and she can get it
Yeah,
out.
I'll send
It's
it
a
out.
great document to read. It's a very interesting.
I think this is what Sacramento's idea of, they drive enough people out of the state, there won't be a homeless problem.
Well, that's part of the reason is so
Oh,
many
yeah, that-
people have
yeah.
left.
But I
Yeah.
think that maybe they're not saying that, but that's why they never rid of it.
Yeah, they had to revise the figures.
Yeah, we are done for tonight, people. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, somebody.
Second.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Everybody, I want to.
Bye now. Good to see y'all.
Thank you.
Jennifer teaches how to paint murals.
Yes.
I didn't know that. And you guys got all that info on the mural stuff